welcome back to Absolutely. My name is Benny. That is Sal, and we get together every week to talk about comic book movies, TV shows, and video games. And today's episode is brought to you by the hot sauce that I created with my buddies. This hot sauce is a whiskey-infused hot sauce. You can order it online. We send it to your house, and you get our hot sauce. The whiskey portion is cooked off. It is non-alcoholic, and it works well with everything from eggs to pulled pork. Trust me, I really do like the hot sauce, and I might be a little biased because I own the company, but we've sold out in 2 stores, and now we're going to see what a farmer's market can do for us.
Ooh, there we go.
So, I mean, that's a good sign, right, Sal, that we sold out?
I agree. I think so.
Yes. So, okay, before we get into it, Sal, I don't think there was any comic books you were supposed to read this week, right?
No, I mean, like, there's books that came out. There were quite a few books that came out this week.
Right, well, did you read the ending to the Batman saga?
No, I haven't read Batman 144 yet. I read Batman 143. I actually liked 143 better than 142, so I'll have to try 144 and see how it goes.
Okay, my only opinion on 144, it is cool. I will say it does have a cool resolution to both plot lines.
Great.
But at the ending, there's no idea how this links to Zur-En-Arrh and why this is the story Joker. And also, there's I don't see a reason why there's a future and a past storyline because they barely come together.
I think the idea is that it doesn't. I think we're taking a break for Joker to do this. Although I think that the 3 Jokers are the Joker of Zur-En-Arrh. Like it's basically like a you know what I mean? Like the 3 Jokers are obviously 3 different personalities Joker has.
Right.
Trained by
does that mean that Batman has a 3rd?
Batman might have another. Oh my God. What if there is a 3rd?
We've never thought about that. We've always thought there's Zur-En-Arrh, there's Batman, and now Zur-En-Arrh's in failsafe.
Yeah. So maybe Batman needs another crazy personality to unlock to fight Zur-En-Arrh. I don't know.
Oh, like the ultimate Batman?
Yeah. There's 3 Jokers. There's got to be 3 Batmans.
Yep. So, I mean, it could be a twist. I stand by my statement. I like the story as it's building right now. I don't see the point in Joker Year 1, but I did overall like the resolution to it. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but the only thing I'm going to spoil is the link to the future is basically the only reason the 2 storylines are happening concurrently.
Yeah.
You know the Commissioner, McLeod, he's obviously the bad guy and all that crap, right?
Yep.
So it's revealed that after he got out of prison, he went missing. Yeah. And he was the test subject Joker used to create this infection.
Okay. All right.
That's the link. And I'm like,
yeah.
What?
Okay.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I do like the story standalone. I don't know what's going to play into the overall plot. I stand by my statement. Whenever we finally get to the end of Zur-En-Arrh storyline, it's going to decide if the whole story is crap or not. That's the problem with your linchpin being this concept.
Yeah.
The concept has to hold until the ending.
Okay.
Did you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, and I hope it does, because I think what is happening, it's not bad. It's just like, why?
Yeah. It's an interesting direction to take it. Honestly, right now, I'm kind of digging Batman and Robin more by Joshua Williamson.
It's the last issue was great. Like, wasn't it so fun? Like, you as an anime fan must have loved it. It was just so
well,
cute.
I love the art they're using in that book right now.
Yeah,
and this just feels like more just classic Batman, just having a good time. You know, that kind of a thing. That's what it feels to be, Batman and Robin. While Batman by Chip Zdarsky is like, okay, what the fuck is going on over here?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's funny because we almost have 3 competing Batman stories right now. We have generally, this is Batman. Batman's being, he's being torn up by Joker and Zur-En-Arrh and all this stuff. Over here's Batman and Robin. We get to see the father side of Batman and how he treats Robin and how this is going to play forward.
Yes.
And then you've got Ram V's insane Barbados demon shit over here.
Yup. Yeah, that is something else. It's still good, but it's like, what?
What is happening over here?
Yeah, it took a long time to get going, and it's cool, but it's like, what?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's insane.
So that's going on over there. I can't think of anything else that really stood out to me.
Yeah, because Ultimate Spider-Man drops tomorrow as of the taping of the show, so we can't talk about that, even though I'm sure people will be.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman came out, but nobody wants to hear us talk about that.
Well, let me ask you about this then. How do you feel? Oh, you didn't read Titans because you don't read Titans. I read it today.
No,
they finally revealed why Evil Raven's in charge and what the plan is. Evil Raven's going to be like the evil Raven equivalent of Trigon. They're building to that.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
that seems to be where they would go with it.
Right.
Yeah,
Because they actually have a straight up talk where Trigon's like, okay, so why are you pretending to be the other one?
right.
Like, why don't you just kill all the Titans? And she's like, I want to turn them into my generals.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. So we're gonna see that.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
They're definitely gonna do that.
But Ultimate Black Panther. What did you think about that reboot? 'Cause we
I
didn't
dug
talk
it.
about that last week.
Yeah, no, we didn't. Ultimate Black Panther sold out everywhere. Back to second printings. It's cool. I remember them pitching it like I think Brian Hill wrote it, and it was
Yeah.
like pitched as a Dune kind of homage. And I'm like, yeah, but like more readable. You know,
Yeah.
like I get all the players, I get all the ideas, and I'm already familiar with the premise. So you know, it's like deepening it and making it like it is a Wakanda book, and I'm
Right.
like, I'm appreciating all the world building and the use of Killmonger and you know, other characters that won't be in other X-Men books, and it's just it looks really cool. It looks great and it feels great. It's well written. Um, it's a big story. It's a big idea. I hope that they can like stick around long enough to actually execute it.
That's my concern. Like, I mean, I don't think I'm preaching to the choir here when I say Black Panther's not, it hasn't exactly been a gangbuster seller.
No.
You know, I mean, I made a joke in my Pedro Pascal casting video
Yeah.
about like, I was like, it's Fantastic Four. No one cares about Fantastic Four. When they
Yeah.
lost the rights to Fantastic Four, they didn't bother and no one cared. Like,
Nope.
you
Nobody
get the
tried.
occasional like, and where's the Fantastic Four during this?
It's true. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Fantastic Four had an event at Marvel within the past 5 years. Anybody read it? Anybody remember?
That's what I mean.
You know what I mean?
But I feel like Black Panther's in that same thing. Like, I mean, does that, and for those of you who don't read comics like Sal and I do,
Yeah.
did you know that Black Panther went into space? They had like a whole space adventure. Like,
yeah. I
where they
remember
moved
reading.
Wakanda to space.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember hearing about that and
It was
being like,
terrible.
is he still in space? Like, literally, I don't know anything about it outside of like it happened.
Yeah, he went to space. They moved Wakanda to a spaceship and they flew away.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how that resolved because they're back in Wakanda. So
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Exactly.
So, but yeah, that's where we are. I haven't read much else though. Nothing else too much going on.
Mhm.
I read a lot of manga because I'm trying to do a thing on Manga Historian right now. So I was mostly reading a lot of that.
Right.
I did catch up a Green Arrow for our channel. I also caught up on Wonder Woman.
Yep. The Wonder Woman book, I haven't read all of it yet, but I've just been able to like look through it. The art is spectacular. Folks,
Sadly, you need that. You need that in a Wonder Woman
yeah.
book because people aren't going to pick it up.
No, the
Wonder
fact
Woman's got fans, but she's not a Superman. She's not a Batman.
she is on that level through the lens of pop culture and icons.
Right.
But the book don't sell, and you need to have like a hook. And the hook in this case is Eisner Award-winning writer Tom King, rising star Daniel Sampere. That's it. Like, it's not like anyone's talking about the book and they're talking about like, whoa, it's subversive. Like, it's, I mean, even the concept of like Wonder Woman, like Amazon versus America. Like, you mean like Amazon's attack? You know, you mean like any other like war or trial of the Amazons? Like, there are a number of books about the Amazons being painted as bad guys, or about like a war of the Amazons versus the surface world, or whatever you want to call the like man's world. I'm thinking of Aquaman, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's either going to be, you know, Themyscira versus Atlantis or Themyscira versus us. And here it is again, but this time it looks great and it's written well.
Yeah. It's weird because I actually thought when I finally read it and caught up on it, because if you guys don't know, in Comic Historian, I'm making an initiative right now I realized for the last 6 months, I pretty much only did Batman and Spider-Man related content.
I mean, yeah,
I'm going out of my way to once a week do something else. So we did Green Arrow, we did Transformers, I did Thundercats. It's members only right now. I don't know when it'll come out, but we did it.
Fair.
You know, but there's a bunch of books like that I'm trying to cycle in. Wonder Woman's next on my list, so I finally caught up on Wonder Woman. Sadly, no one's reading this, Sal, because there's so much ammo for those comic skating morons in this book.
Yeah.
Like, if you've been reading it, like, the plot is this guy is using the idea that Amazons are taking away people's manhood, basically. Like, if you read the end of issue 3, a soldier who got destroyed by Wonder Woman in the big battle is led to believe, like through a lasso that literally makes him believe this. That he needs to commit suicide because his manhood was taken from him by losing to Wonder Woman.
Right.
And I'm like, I get that. That plot is great. I like what you're doing with this. It's a good spin on this.
Yep.
The fact that I'm not seeing all those idiots ranting and raving about this.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, it's like there is something there, and it's like really well put together. Like I
It is.
really,
It's a very well put together story. Like I like
yeah, yeah, and it's just, but it would require you to like read it in order to understand what the hell's happening in it, and
Yeah.
not a lot of people who would criticize it would understand that.
I don't think they read Tom King's work.
No. They want to like it. The thing is they want to like it, but they don't, like, understand why people like it, and there
Yeah.
aren't enough moments where it's dope. You know what I mean? Like, where they
That's
can
I was
where they
talking to
can
my brother, and that's the issue I have with Tom King's book right now.
yeah,
Reading through Wonder Woman, I'm like, okay, so again, he's doing 2 timelines.
yeah.
Like I
Oh,
read issues 1 and 2 when he sent them to me way back in the day, and I hadn't read past that yet.
yeah.
So I'm reading it, and I'm like, okay, so we're doing 2 timelines again, and you're doing the whole page by page thing again. It's the same thing you've done, and the dope moments was like her fighting the entire US Army,
Right.
and then it's a lot of talking. Like
Yeah. Now, that being said, in the most recent issue, there is a knockdown, drag out fight between like everyone that that Diana would fight, like any potential Wonder Woman villain, and also a really awesome final battle, which is like bloody and dope and cool and
Okay.
epic. Then you also get, and for the last 6 issues, you've been getting them, these amazing Super Son stories with Trinity as well, like
Which I
with Wonder Woman's daughter.
Yeah, the daughter that we don't know much about. Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
interesting that they're putting that in the back because I noticed that when I'm reading through these, I'm like, oh, this is where the Super Sun stories went to. I thought they were in action. Like,
Yeah.
why are
No.
Super Sons is just ending up everywhere again?
Right? Yeah. This is really, it's a really fun story. And I think Belen Ortega does the art. It's delightful, and it's positively non-Tom King.
No.
Like, if you hate Tom King, you'll still probably love all the backups by Belen Ortega. Now, that being said, by the way, exciting point, they're separating those 2 stories in the collections. So if you want to read only Trinity and the Super Sons,
Yeah.
you can go get that trade. That trade will be just that book. And if
Okay.
you want to read just the Tom King, no thank you, Diana Sampere book, like that's that book.
The book's
And
good. The only problem I have right now, the only issue I actually have,
yeah,
Dawn of DC is linking everything together.
yep.
This does not feel linked to anything else going on.
It's a Tom King book. It's never going to. Like, the fact
Right.
is, like,
Well, I'm just saying, like, we're literally like over here, Joshua Williamson's like piecing everything together like this gorgeous puzzle.
Oh, I
'Cause
know.
you know what's happening. And then
Yeah.
over here, Amazon's been kicked off America and she's currently running from the army. And I'm like, I didn't hear about this anywhere.
But at the same time, they do reference them occasionally. Like, I think it came up in like Beast War, or whatever, Beast World, whatever the hell that book was. They brought it up. It's come up a couple of times, but only in characters interacting with each other, written by Joshua Williamson. Do you see any references to the Tom King run? The good thing about it is, like, it's evergreen. It can be read whenever, but also, like, sure, yeah, there is only one Wonder Woman book. So, like, it's only going to affect Wonder Woman,
Yeah.
and so it's happening over there, and it's happening in DC, right in Tom King's backyard. So, like, obviously, most of the DC books don't take place in Washington, DC. So again, like, you can argue, yeah, Wonder Woman's happening during Dawn of DC, and Wonder Woman hasn't had like a crucial role to play in any of the events going on against like Amanda Waller or about Beast World or any of that stuff. So, like, yeah, it's over there, and it's happening in the same world, but like whatever. Same with Penguin, that which also is phenomenal. You got to be reading Penguin.
I've
by
not
Tom
been
King.
Penguin. I've actually not touched Penguin.
I promise you,
There's a
great.
few books that I'm just like, I don't care. And
No,
Penguin
I
was on
didn't.
that list.
I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Okay. I'll give it a shot.
And it's another one where it's like, yeah, it doesn't really link in with Dawn of DC, but it doesn't not. Like, it's not like Dawn of DC doesn't really touch upon it. But why would it?
Yeah.
It's about the Penguin's rise to power, or re-rise to power. Re-rise to power. Like, how many times that happened? But also, like, go for it. You know, but it's so good.
Let me. I'm gonna move our topic a little
Please,
bit here
yeah,
for one
get
that's
us outta
not on
here.
the list here.
Okay.
How do you feel about the Brainiac announcements? So if you have been missing what's going on, apparently in April it's going to set it up, and in May we're going to have the next DC event.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's going to be regulated only to super books. I thought the Brainiac thing was going to be DC wide.
I thought so too, and I think that's because of the art, right? We got that little, like, we saw the tentacle ship and, like, you know, or
Yeah.
the skull ship with the tentacles and everything, and we were like, oh, from the teaser they released of Dawn of DC, we were like, that's it, the big battle will be Brainiac. Now, as it turns out, it's going to be against basically Superman. That's fine.
I mean,
as long-
Brainiac is primarily a
Superman
book,
villain.
so I will take that. But
But at the same
I
time,
just thought it was going to be a much bigger thing.
me
Like,
too. Me too. I
because
completely
when was the
agree.
last time we had a proper Brainiac invasion?
Maybe they're worried, like, because Brainiac versus the DC Universe is one of the like most controversial video game releases of all time right now. So, but
I agree, but at the same time, there's no way they could pivot that quick to be like
there's no
Superman
way.
only.
No, it definitely was going to be a Superman only book from the beginning.
Yeah.
But they didn't. But they didn't really like telegraph that to us, which is a shame. Yeah, it's too bad. But at the same time, like, yeah, it's fine. Like, let it be. There are a lot of Superman books right now, so it'll feel like a big consequence filled event. You got Superman, you got Action Comics. I don't know if it's gonna
Superman is so good, man. I just read the newest one today, and I'm like, this is still so
good. I haven't read the most recent issue, but I've been reading this issue since issue 1, and I've loved it. And Williamson gets Superman. They have top tier art. That's the thing. DC understands, at least in part, right? Like, I'm sure that DC is a house of cards and it's a complete nightmare, like it is in every other industry. But like, Marvel goes, Amazing Spider-Man, put anyone on art,
Yeah.
and we'll have anyone write it. And it's
No,
like
Marvel loves John Romita Jr., which I am the only person in the world who dislikes, apparently.
No, you're not. Trust me. You go on like Reddit or anything like that, people definitely agree with you.
I'm just not. I mean, like, he does good work, but he's not for me. He's not for me at all.
Well, and like, I think his best days are past, but like, I'm enjoying. I love actually Ramita Jr.'s Daredevil covers. I'm loving those. I'm not loving his sequentials in Amazing Spider-Man, but like, again, it's free. It's not all the time, but even when it's not John Romita Jr., it's not like they have like Pepe Larraz or like Rod Rice or like Josh Cassara or like anybody like who would be a top tier artist. They didn't get Zermanico to draw Amazing Spider-Man. Like, these are just like fill-in artists who are just doing Spider-Man. Meanwhile, DC, they're like, well, we got to get like the best artists on Superman because arguably Superman's a tough book to sell, and he's not he's a popular character and everybody knows who Superman is, but it's a hard book to sell. Batman, again, we got to have the best artists on Batman.
That's what I say. Across the board, I don't think there's a bad artist in DC right now. I can't think of a book reading DC that I've been like, I'm out.
No,
like, I'm out.
You might have you read that Super Sons book?
The one in the backup?
Sinister Sons?
Oh, I did. Yeah, no, that's not good. I don't like that.
And again, like, even that,
I very stylized, cartoony approach.
Super stylized. It's supposed to feel like an all ages, like, kind of young adult book.
Oh, I guarantee. Because if we're doing Super Sons over in Wonder Woman, then we're doing Sinister Sons over here. And I'm not a fan of Sinister Sons. It didn't hook me. But I don't like the design of Sin Star and Lorzar.
Me either.
I don't like the designs.
I was okay with the designs when I saw them on the cover, and then you see the interiors, and I'm like, you bait and switched me.
You bait and switched me.
You totally did.
Well,
right?
I knew Sin Star was in the back of Green Lantern, so I already knew what it was going to look like.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's someone in our audience here who I think has been smoking comic book crack. He says that Sinister Sons is amazing, but Beast World was trash. I wholeheartedly disagree.
Yeah,
with that.
I can't disagree more. Because as much as I didn't want Beast World or whatever. Again, I don't know what the hell that is.
I think Beast World played out very well, considering it was a great mini the main event hit what it was supposed to hit and it moved on.
Yeah.
And Titans, which would be your ancillary to that, filled in a lot of story beats. And okay, these are the two we need. Cool. And we didn't flood with tie-ins. We didn't have a bunch of bullshit. The problem with Night Terrors is we had too much bullshit. I still say Night Terrors, the story, fine.
Yeah.
The 50 Nightmare books, maybe a bit much.
It was a big ask, but also you knew when you saw like 50 tie-in books to Night Terrors, you knew you could pick and choose. And if you did, you were rewarded because you were like, okay, I want to see how Night Terrors affects Batman. Oh, that actually informs the whole event. Cool. You bet on Batman and you came up heads again. Congratulations. But like, if you want to know like how Night Terrors affected Angel Breaker, there's a book for you.
Yeah, it was great. Wait, Angel Breaker. You bring up a question. Did Angel Breaker show up anywhere else?
I don't know. I have the
that was
issue.
The introduction of that character, and that was that. Like,
that's it.
Angel Breaker.
Angel Breaker was introduced and got a Night Terrors tie-in. That's it.
was like, I like the Nightwing one where his nightmare is that he killed Batman and then like everything starts spiraling out.
Right. See, there are books for you. Like
Yeah.
the Night Terrors had books available for you. If you like Harley Quinn, if you like Green Arrow, like there's books. If you like Cyborg Superman, there's a book for you from Night Terrors.
Yeah.
Didn't make you have to buy them.
No,
Beast
I think
War,
I think Night Terrors was an experiment.
it was. A
I
good
feel
experiment,
like
yes.
this year of Dawn of DC, Lazarus Planet to
Right?
Night Terrors to Gotham War to Titans Beast World was an experiment of what events can do well.
Yes.
Let's have all of them. All I personally think all 4 of the major events that happened, the Batman, the Titans, the Night Terrors, and the Lazarus, all had strong core storylines.
Yes.
How they handled them outside of the core storyline, some were weird. Lazarus Planet had stories that made no sense to the main plot, like no one was communicating.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
got Night Terrors gave you the option of buy what you want, don't buy. And then Beast World was like, what if we just don't have that many at all? What?
No, it was a conservative estimate. I assume it was made. That decision was made based on sales of the previous event, where they were
Yeah.
like, we've got the sweet spot here. But I would guess Beast War didn't sell very well.
No. I
Which
don't
is
think
unfortunate because they were also more conservative with their tie-ins and with their
I think it did, but it didn't.
Right.
Because you got to think it was a Titans event.
Right.
So I think it would
already
probably
wasn't
sell
going
as
to sell
well
great.
as the Titans book is selling.
That's
you know?
fair. Yeah. But even then, like you're going to have drop off because you got like the Titans readers who are reading it because it's Titans. They have to be aware that there's a Titans event. They have to feel like it's important to the Titans story. If it doesn't, they're not going to read it.
Right.
And it's a shame because that first issue by Ivan Rice was great looking. Now Ivan Rice, of course, left. I think that was his only issue, and he left to go do Ghost World. But like, or whatever the hell that book is called. You know, the imprint with Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns' Image thing. But
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, but it looked great. It was a good step forward. It was a great hook. I was like, I'm not reading this book at all. And then I read the first issue. I'm like, that looked great, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So,
but yeah.
Moving through our actual list here, we're going on with the topics that Dan has gotten for us. Marvel announces the Krakoa Age of the X-Men begins wrapping up in May with the era's final installment of giant-sized X-Men. A new villain will arrive and start by knocking Angel out of the sky. Okay, Sal.
Yeah.
I'm trying to follow the Fall of X.
It's not hard to follow. There's not a lot of books out. You read
Not
Rise
anymore, because like
read
all the
Rise and Fall.
Yeah, well, that's where we're at now.
Just read the books. Read Rise of the House, or
No,
Rise of
but
the
my
Powers
point
of Ten,
is-
and Fall of the House of X.
We had Hellfire Gala, and then I guess nothing matters in the middle, and now we're at Rise and Fall.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Why can't they just make it an event where it goes from beginning to end? Here's the book.
Because that doesn't sell as much anymore.
You cannot tell me the numbers are better putting it in 9 books without any cohesion.
They did
and
it.
Then solidifying it into 1.
They did 10 Lives and 10 Deaths. That was an event with 2 titles, and they came out concurrently, and I bet it didn't sell very well because it was horribly received.
Yeah.
And they were like, we can't do that anymore. And also, like, I think it also, the depiction of the Fall of the House of X is actually a really, it's if not brilliant, it's also really like respectful because it feels like it's part of each initiative. Each initiative was like the reason we lost Hickman in the first place is because it was like no one was ready to stop, no one was ready to leave Krakoa. Krakoa was not over for a lot of people, and like those creators were part of each like phase, and each of those phases was like build this kind of like overarching story, but let all these different creators play within the umbrella of that phase that they're in. Fall of the House of X isn't like an event. It's a phase of the Krakoa era. It's like another chapter in the Krakoa era, and there's multiple stories going on. I mean, the Sabretooth War is happening during the Fall of the House of X. Nothing to do with Fall of the House of X, outside of the fact that Wolverine is in it, you know, and they're wrapping up the Sabretooth story. Sabretooth had his own freaking event, or his own story with the Exiles that was also being written by the co-writer of the current Sabretooth War, right? And while it doesn't necessarily factor into like what's going on at Orcus or Krakoa's fall, it does wrap up the story of those characters from like when they were introduced or reintroduced in Krakoa to now. So it's like when you're done, when it's all over and they have like a brand new X-Men #1 and it's going to have like all this crap in it that's going to be very different and distinctly like unique and separate from this, you'll have this whole companion where like these were the phases and eras of the Krakoa era of X-Men.
It's a
All that's
cool idea, and
another
I agree.
chapter. Yeah.
And if you're following everything, I don't think it's as complicated as I'm making it out to be. I will agree.
Exactly. If you're already
But
reading it, you're not. There's no questions. But
coming
if,
from the point of view of a guy who got into it because you talked me into it,
right,
and then stayed on what I enjoyed and not what I enjoyed.
that's all you need to do. That's
It's
what they want you to
very
do.
difficult to follow what's happening, and I get what you're saying. This is the phase. This is when this was happening.
Right.
But it's just, I just want there to be like one coherent plot line going through it, and I just feel like.
I
Like,
understand.
okay, I'm like, okay, it's X-Men and Immortal X-Men. And then like they're like, now it's Rise and Fall. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Those other books are still going.
Right. Well, and like with X-Force, you know what I mean? Like it was the Beast plot. Like that, those like X-Force, the plot is what is Beast up to. That's
Yeah,
the plot.
I
for
like
that.
how they like how they got rid of that. Like
I
Beast
know.
is gone. 2 issues. Beast is back.
Right. Yeah. No. And they're like, because they're like, that's what you care about. That's what you're here for. Now, but I don't want to tell like a 60 issue what's Beast up to story. So we're gonna do like dips and dives and changes and switches. But like each book has its own direction, and if the book is like selling well, it'll have a chance to actually tell that whole direction. I mean, obviously, like New Mutants. Remember that book was coming out, and that was about space and stuff, and there was also like a backup about some farm and Beak, and I'm like, what the crap are you doing? But the other part was so cool and so engaging, and then it ended, and they were like, that's it, like Exterminators, or there were a number of books where it was like, this is the story, and then we're done, you know.
Yep.
And I really appreciate that. I'm like, that's really cool. Like, but anyway, yeah, I understand your concern or complaint. I feel like that's over. I feel like after Krakoa is over, after the fall of X, we won't be seeing that from X-Men anymore. Especially because
I hope
crop
so.
of creators, I think the creators really respond to it. I think that like the people they have right now are enjoying that. But I bet
I wanted to just move in a direction where it's a lot easier and more coherent to follow.
Well,
and I do know that's what
coming.
we're setting up. We're setting up like the reboot to go with everything coming from the MCU and the shows.
Yeah,
So.
no, we're gonna get that. Like Wolverine is gonna feel completely different and very approachable, especially if Greg Capullo is gonna draw it. And then you're gonna have like an X-Men book, and probably
I feel like Wolverine's one of the more approachable books right now.
It easily is. Well, because it's about him or the Wolverine family. But again, like it's gonna be about Wolverine. That's gonna be your book to follow. Yeah, it will be much easier, and I'll bet a lot lighter. Even though I think that's a bad mistake. Like I genuinely am like, right now the X universe can handle 5, 6, 7 titles. That
I
people are
definitely
buying.
can. I 100%. I do agree with that.
Right?
Agree with that. Like the X universe is big, sprawling. There's enough interesting characters.
Exactly.
You could easily get books out for them.
Yeah. But like right now, I don't know what their plan is. But if I had to guess, I would guess that they were like, we're gonna scale it down. You're gonna have like 3 X-Men books, and one of them is Wolverine.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So moving over to our next topic here, they confirmed X-Men 97 is not connected to the MCU.
What a shock! A cartoon show that's based from the 90s was connected to the MCU?
I was like, wait, did people really think that this was going to be connected to the MCU? Like,
no, they didn't. It was a slow news day for Collider. That's exactly what happened. No one thought that. One thought that. The only thing that I can say about the MCU and this connection to X-Men 97 is that clearly Marvel Studios / Marvel is like the most approachable and relatable and marketable X-Men is that era.
Yeah.
So like everything that they make about X-Men is going to reflect or resemble X-Men from the cartoon show from the 90s. Right. It's why Professor X was in the robot yellow suit, like, or chair.
Or they played the beat.
They played the theme. They played the theme. Like they are every piece of X-Men toys is rooted in that comic or that cartoon show. Wolverine's outfit, while it is a classic yellow and blue suit in Deadpool and Wolverine / Deadpool 3, it's clearly inspired by the X-Men 97 cartoon. And yeah, so it's like that cartoon show is not going to be set in the freaking MCU. It's just that it's more like Marvel Studios is probably going to be like the entire Bible for X-Men in the Marvel Cinematic Universe will be inspired by the Jim Lee era.
Oh yeah, easy.
Which makes sense to me. It'd be kind of cool to see like Bishop show up in the MCU and be like, everything's messed up and I'm from the future.
I mean, so many people don't even realize X-Men has nonstop gone on since the 90s. Like they've done a lot of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. We've seen a number of we've also seen a number of X-Men cartoon shows. Here's a spoiler, Collider. X-Men Evolution is also not going to be in the MCU.
I'm waiting for that article tomorrow.
Right, it's coming.
Next up, we got this. I'm actually shocked about. DC's Black Label line is getting The Boy Wonder, a 5-issue series written by and drawn by Juni Ba.
Yeah,
I think I said that right. We'll tell the story of Damien and his adopted brothers investigating a string of abductions in Gotham while Batman is gone from the city. So it's an adult-themed Robin book.
Right. Called The Boy Wonder. Written and drawn by Juni Ba.
Yep.
The art is very stylized. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. It doesn't look like it's oversized. Have fun. I don't like to.
I like Damien, so I'm excited about this.
Yeah, no, for you Damien fans out there, I would pick up this book because it's going to be prestige bound and it's going to be really nice. It's going to be a good looking book.
Yeah. James Tynion the Fourth is launched Tiny Onion, which if you have not been, I've been subscribed to his thing. He does Razor Blades, a bunch of horror books in it. Now he's spinning it into a full production studio.
Makes sense
Good news
to me.
for them. I don't know really what I want to add to that other than just kind of like, hey, great news. I like the guy. Also, I don't know if I'm just going to say it. He looks amazing. He's lost so much weight.
Dropped a ton of weight. I mean, and good for them.
He looks really good.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, James Tynion the Fourth has a production studio. I would not be surprised if we saw that happen with everybody.
Like yeah. Well, yes. Ghost Machine already got made. That was the Jeff Johns one.
Yes.
Now James Tynion. Scott Snyder, kind of. I don't know. He's been doing a few things lately.
Scott's been like not hedging his bets, but like he has the best jacket press, which is his like imprint line. But also, I would if I were him. It'd be cheaper and easier if I could just sell my stuff to different production studios. Well,
that's what he's been doing. He's been doing that. He's not
right. Like the Witches cartoon is going to be made by I think Amazon, but like it's its own thing over there, and he's involved integrally, but it's at least he's not like on the hook.
Yeah,
so I get it, but yeah, good for James.
Yeah, no, great news. I just wanted to make that mention.
Yeah, definitely.
Sony apparently had a Spider-Man Universe TV series being written called Silk Spider Society as they attempt to break into television. However, they recently got a major update in the sense that Sony has reportedly let go of the entire writer's room. Some of the show was written prior to the writer's strike, but it is unclear if any of it will be used or if it's going to make it to the screens. I'm going to add into that. If you see the latest stuff on the Madam Web stuff, where Sydney Sweeney is saying that she thought this was an MCU movie she was in, and that's why she agreed.
Oh my God. I mean, like, and listen, folks, it's easy to like laugh at that and make fun of them, but like these are actors who didn't they're like Gwyneth Paltrow did not know she was in a Spider-Man movie. Right. She thought she was in an Iron Man movie because she was surrounded by people from Iron Man.
Yeah.
So she was like, "Oh yeah, no, I'm in an Iron Man movie." They're like, "You were in Spider-Man."
Yeah,
like these people don't know. They don't care. As far as they're concerned, they're movie people. They showed it to a set. They asked some person who brought them their coffee, "Hey, by the way, is this in the universe or whatever?" And they're like, "Sure."
Well, it's funny because like a lot of people, and I talk about this all the time, being in your own echo chamber. Yeah. Like for us, the idea that you wouldn't know Madam Web is
laughable.
Laughable. It is, but for her. Do you really think she goes home at night and she's like, what's the latest MCU news? What's going on with the Sonyverse?
Yeah, this is not Iman Vellani, who is like arguing with Kevin Feige publicly about how like the universe should not be called 616.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we have those fans. We have Henry Cavill's. We have Iman Vellani. Sydney Sweeney is not our nerd queen who happens to know what's going on. Like,
yeah,
we don't get those. They aren't often. Like if you're in the echo chamber of this, like my recommendations every day is what's the latest video game news and comic news and all.
Yeah,
that's what I get.
Right, exactly.
Sydney Sweeney strikes me as the kind of girl that's looking up what the latest makeup and fashion trends are, and that is the extent of her intellectual discoveries. I don't know how to put it. Trying to not make her sound dumb, but I kind of leaned into that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, genuinely,
I don't know her at all.
I don't know her at all,
but in the world.
I would not be surprised to hear that she thought she was going to be in the MCU, and that's why she signed on. Which, by the way, Kevin Feige, is a great sign. That means that she's interested in being in the MCU. So you can just call her up because it ain't like they're making Madam Web 2.
No,
so you can come on by. And
like they're trying to rush out Spider-Man 4. Segue to our other topic.
Yes.
So apparently Sony is pushing real hard for Spider-Man 4 to get out by 2025.
I'm shocked.
We're not talking like Sony wants it to start filming. They want it out and about, and they want Kevin Feige to make it good.
Right. Which, I mean, like, listen, if I think, it used to be that if Kevin Feige was involved, it was just implicit that it was going to be at least pretty good. Yeah. But now you have to kind of ask him, hey, Kevin, you're going to make this good, right? This isn't going to be like those other things that came out in the past 2 years, is it? Like, because... And also, it is indicative of the fact that like Sony learns always the wrong lesson from any of their successes, and in this case, it is big time. Where Kevin and the rumor, these are all rumors. This is all conjecture. We don't know necessarily what the official word is, but the rumor is Feige wants what we want: a grounded team-up Spider-Man movie in New York City where he fights a Spider-Man villain and has fun and it's cool. And Sony wants another Spider-Verse movie where Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire team up with him and they fight like multiversal problems. God help me. I knew going into No Way Home that if it did well, that was going to be the next Spider-Man movie trilogy. It was going to be all Spider-Verse all the time.
Oh, I mean, look what they're doing with Into the Spider-Verse into like they just turned Into the Spider-Verse is great movie, successfully. But now we have 2 sequels where we go back to the Spider-Verse.
Got to go to the Spider-Verse. And like the most successful, the best parts, the people that no one argues aren't great about the second Spider-Verse movie is all the character work, is all the Miles Morales stuff, it's all the Gwen Stacy stuff in her own universe. It's all this great character stuff that you like about Spider-Man. And you saw all the Spider-Verse stuff in the trailer anyway. So like, and it's fun, sure. Like spider therapists and spider horses and crap. Like it's all fun and cute. But at the end of the day, what audiences want and why people like Spider-Man at the end of the day is because he's a character they can relate to.
I would not be against 2 grounded Spider-Mans to lead into another multiversal adventure. If that's what's, I mean, I'd say I'd prefer the grounded ones the whole way through.
Exactly. And like,
but if we got to compromise with Sony here.
Yeah. If they want to make a deal with Sony, just look, no one cares about like evil Doctor Strange showing up in Secret Wars. Nobody cares about like any of like the multiversal options they have. Like, I think people might be excited to see Captain Carter again, but outside of that, nobody's interested. So like, if you want to make the main focus of Secret Wars 1 or 2, the Avengers, or like the new Fantastic Four, where it's like Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider, Hugh Jackman Wolverine, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. Like, you want to make it more spider-centric? I think Sony would be more than happy to sign a contract that opened up talks to give them a nice big fat check to allow them to use any and all Spider-Man stuff, and make your Spider-Man multiverse movie also a Marvel co-production that is over there, that isn't bogging down a new awesome Spider-Man trilogy that could cost you $120 million and still make you $1 billion.
I mean, all the Spider-Man movies have done amazing. They don't need to break the budget and bring in Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield and all these guys.
Exactly. You
don't got to do this.
You don't need to do that.
Never mind the fact I don't want to see the 3 of them again. If you're going to do it, we go bigger. We got to go bigger. You got to keep going bigger if you're going to do this idea.
I mean, that's true in terms of like the math of these kinds of things, but I did like their chemistry. I did like seeing all 3 of them. I would love to see them all 3 team up again in something else, but I don't want it to be Spider-Man 4, 5, and 6 is more Lun, and they're jumping into like different cartoons and live action movies, and there's a whole extended Sam Raimi sequence where they have to deal with like all the other Spider-Man villains. Like, I just want to see Spider-Man in New York.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's funny because after Across the Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, and No Way Home, that's what Sony's learned.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll just throw the bank at everything and we're going to make $1 billion. It's going to be great.
And it's just like, you could still like it makes $1 billion because people love Spider-Man. That's why it makes $1 billion. It doesn't make $1 billion because you made it multiversal. That's not how that works. Because if it did, your multiversal Spider-Man cartoon movie would have made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like that is not the formula, but they don't know what the formula is because they're a hacky studio anyway.
So this was going to be a solo video on Absolutely, but since we took off Monday, we're not going to have it, and I'll just throw it in here.
Fair.
There's talks about Kevin Feige wants Wolverine and Deadpool to show up in Avengers 5. Now, what I found interesting about that is it's now called Avengers 5.
Is it? Because I've heard people saying Kang Dynasty, and I'm like, why bother? But like, I love the idea of them internally.
The latest
being like,
news articles. Now, I don't know, and this is why I didn't want to make it into a video because we have no confirmation yet.
Sure.
But the ones that I've been reading are like Avengers 5 and Avengers 6 Secret Wars.
Sure. That's fine with me.
Kang Dynasty's been dropped from all the news articles. Now,
good.
Is that a Marvel decision, or did the news articles decide we're just going to drop Kang Dynasty?
It could go either way, right?
Yeah.
Like, because if I were a news article, I'd be like, I'd stop saying Kang Dynasty all the time. But I mean, like, they're all in bed with each other. So I'd imagine someone someone from Marvel calls up, like, let's say Entertainment Weekly, and goes, by the way, stop. If you have to refer to the Kang Dynasty movie, call it Avengers 5 or A5. Don't call it Kang Dynasty anymore.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Which you and I were saying, just drop Kang Dynasty, make another Avengers movie.
Make a different Avengers movie that's really fun.
You have plenty of Avengers plots to work with.
You have 1 million Avengers stories that all feature characters that you either killed off or retired, which you could still apply to characters that still have not gotten headline movies that people wanted to watch. Like, I'm still waiting to see Like, any movie with well, anyway, I want to see all these characters show up. I would love to see, Monica Rambeau headline an Avengers movie, or at the very least, like put them all into one thing. You could do any number of Avengers stories. You could do the Korvac saga. You could do a Secret Wars adaptation. It doesn't matter what it is. But what they want seemingly is Deadpool and Wolverine in an Avengers movie, which I understand the motivation behind it. But I mean, like, if anyone was going to expect them to be in any Avengers movie, it would be Secret Wars, because then it can be multiversal.
Right.
If I were them, I don't know. What would you do? Would you would you want to do Avengers 5, Deadpool, Wolverine, and
If Deadpool Wolverine hits the numbers that we're expecting, they because this is the
they're going
argument
to
I
do
made.
it?
I did the Pedro Pascal discussion, which
Yes.
is just yelling at the camera. I enjoyed
Naturally.
it. It was a lot of fun. I was trolling people, and that turned into me just trolling the audience. It was great.
Sure, of course.
I mean, it's got 1,200 comments. I think I'm happy with it.
It's a success. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, what I was saying in that is, right now Marvel needs star power, and we need guaranteed it's going to be fun to want to go to a movie.
Yeah.
We like when the Marvels came out, it did terrible.
Yeah.
It did terrible. There's no way to look around it. I enjoyed the Marvels.
I liked it too, and it did terrible. I know. It's a shame.
What we need is something like, Mr. Fantastic is Pedro Pascal, to get people's butts in the seats.
It's true.
So if you're concerned that right now your Avengers 5, which is what, 2025?
Yeah.
Like,
Just no way.
It's a little close. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe putting Wolverine and Deadpool in it is going to kind of bolster those numbers up a little bit,
Yeah. I mean, if I were them, rather than even like Avengers 5, I'd be like, I mean, just as a quick overview, if I were Kevin Feige, I'd have a Kevin Feige Jr. You know what I mean? Someone else who I would trump up as like, ladies and gentlemen, this is so and so, and he or she is awesome, and they are like just as knowledgeable of the universe and the characters and and you know what I mean? And I've worked with them on all these projects that you love, coincidentally, and I'm going to relegate some of my efforts with this person. You know what I mean? So it's just, it divides the effort a little bit. But if I were Kevin Feige, I'd be like, Avengers 5 is its own thing. New Avengers movie, standalone, crazy thing. Make it an adaptation of Annihilation. Make it something cool, epic, and awesome and fun. That, I mean, for God's sake, you know how at the end of Guardians 3 they said like the legendary Star-Lord will return?
Yeah.
But they didn't say Guardians 4.
Yeah.
Avengers Annihilation to be a dope movie where it's like it's just handfuls of Avengers who could theoretically be in space and nobody would miss them, including Star-Lord, and they're fighting an effing war to keep Earth from being destroyed by the Annihilation Wave. That movie could be its own separate movie that's like, did you see that epic Dune-esque space opera? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm using Hollywood terms, but like, oh my God. And it has nothing to do with Secret Wars, it has nothing to do with multiverse or incursions. It's just this crazy epic space adventure that features like Star-Lord leading the Avengers, the Space Avengers, and that's your movie. But like, you do that, and if you want to get your Deadpool stuff, Deadpool and Wolverine is a perfect title for a Deadpool series where it's Deadpool and Spider-Man, Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool and Cable. You make
people
three.
People are like, I want to see Deadpool and Spider-Man, and I'm like, I do too. But
everyone wants that.
Also a classic pick. I mean,
exactly. So it's like, no, dude, I'll watch a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, but if you want to make like a new
oddball, Deadpool and Star-Lord.
Exactly, but like Deadpool and Captain America, Deadpool and whoever is alive or around.
Ryan Reynolds is now just co-hosting every movie going.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because like honestly, like a Spider-Man was the lead of a book called Marvel Team Up, where it was like Spider-Man and literally teaming up with like Moondragon and Adam Warlock and like Namor the Submariner. Like that was the book where you saw Spider-Man team up with everybody. So like obviously it makes sense to do a Spider-Man team up movie trilogy, but if you want it to be grounded and fun, you make them all street level characters. Maybe Spider-Man teams up with, obviously Daredevil, Ms. Marvel, and like the X-Men or the Fantastic Four or somebody else. And you make that your trilogy. But to continue the team up trend, I mean, wouldn't it be dope to see like, since you own Deadpool and you have to make a deal with Sony, you make your 3 Deadpool movies: Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool and Hulk, and Deadpool and Spider-Man. Or someone else that you own already that you don't have to worry about. And those are your 3 like tentpole, $120 million, makes $1 billion anyway, cash in on Ryan Reynolds, like, charisma and natural star power. And you ride that wave into Secret Wars. And meanwhile, in between all those movies, there's also an Annihilation movie called Avengers 5. And it's like, and you use to use the wave metaphor again, like use the wave of Deadpool, it crashes into Annihilation or the Avengers 5 movie, which allows Avengers to then be like jump started as a brand because people are now excited again about like Marvel and Marvel cinema. And then it rolls right into Secret Wars where you're like, oh, by the way, if you like Deadpool team up with people, you may want to go check out Secret Wars because he's teamed up with Spider-Man. Like, and when I say Spider-Man, I mean Tobey Maguire. You know what I mean? Like something like that, where it's like, oh, and also Chris Evans is coming back, and also all these other characters are coming back. Like this is a way you could like set these things on a trajectory. While
they
also
just need to follow up what you're saying about the trajectory. I'm just saying they need Deadpool Wolverine's gonna like I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't break $1 billion.
I think it will.
They need to figure out how to ride that into 2025.
Yes,
because that's the only MCU movie we have this year.
Yeah,
so it's gonna make $1 billion. And then, okay, what's next? And I think it's what, Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
Which they're making a lot of hype for. So
they should, and I hope they like listen. I know I hate using Spider-Man. Like I love Spider-Man. He's my favorite character. He's the one. He's like my like carrot that got me through the MCU. I loved it, but I was also like, man, this is so great. It's so wonderful, and it's a great little like universe that's perfect for Spider-Man to show back up. And eventually they did, and I was, and all was right with the world. But Spider-Man's first issue, officially as an ongoing series, featured the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
You want to get people to show up to Fantastic Four?
Have that cameo.
Spider-Man shows up.
Yep.
Especially because like they
need to start doing the cameos and the crossovers. Like that's what like okay, how many comic books have you bought? Because for you, Spider-Man was a cameo.
It is a marketing strategy at Marvel. Put Spider-Man on the cover of a bad selling book. Back in the 90s, it was also Venom. But like I think that would have an inverse effect if you were to put like Deadpool and Venom as your team up movie. Although I would watch the hell out of that Tom Hardy's Venom with Deadpool.
That one, Venom just constantly rips Deadpool in half.
Right? Oh my god. But yeah, no. I mean, it's a tried and true strategy. It's not just fanboying. It's also a proven marketable strategy.
I mean, I said it when I came into Pedro Pascal argument. I'm like, there's certain actors and things that I will go see just because there's an actor in it.
Yeah.
And Pedro Pascal's kind of getting there.
Right.
But my example was if John Hamm is in a movie or a show, I will watch or go see that.
Well, that's funny.
If you don't know John Hamm since Mad Men, he's in a lot of obscure.
I know he's in a lot of random movies where you're like, okay, John Hamm. I didn't know.
And every time he's in it, I watch it because I don't know what this movie's about, but it's going to be fun because John Hamm is in it. And that's how it should be with the MCU. There's a weird cameo with Spider-Man. Oh, well, I don't know what's happening at the Fantastic Four, but I get 2 minutes of Tom Holland.
I mean, honestly,
they tried to do it with Daredevil and Echo, and then they removed Daredevil from most of Echo.
I mean, the one of the highlights, I think, for most people in the Echo show was that awesome Daredevil fight where I'm like, oh, and they shot that like, during the MCU. It wasn't like it was a holdover or deleted scene from the Netflix show. It was made from the same people who are working on the MCU today. So it's like, that's a good sign. But like, yeah, I lost my train of thought in that regard. But I was thinking about like, Thor Ragnarok. I think that a big part of why Thor Ragnarok was so initially successful, besides the
still successful.
Well, yeah, no, I mean in the beginning, like opening weekend, why it did so well is because Hulk was in it.
Yeah.
And because they knew Hulk was in it. Like
there's rumors that Hulk is now just going to be the crossover guy, which I'm not against, but I think I'd take Spider-Man over Hulk.
I mean, listen, make that Wolverine Hulk movie because I would like to see Wolverine versus Hulk, please. And I think we even talked about this, but like the Patch cameo in the Deadpool Wolverine trailer, I think that's definitely a different actor. I think that yeah. In the trailer for Deadpool Wolverine, there's a push-in of Wolverine.
Oh yeah, the Daniel Radcliffe rumor.
Well, and I don't know if it's Daniel Radcliffe. I've been pitching Daniel Radcliffe for years, but like,
did you see him ripped? He looks so good.
He does, and he's a little guy. But like, I think that's going to be like the last shot of the movie is Marvel kind of mic dropping. Ladies and gentlemen, Hugh Jackman's last hurrah for Wolverine. It's going to be awesome, except for Secret Wars is going to be in that too. But this is our Wolverine. Like, I think they're going to debut their Wolverine.
Debut him. If they could debut him and maybe the new Professor X or something like that, that would be.
I'll take just new MCU Wolverine at that point, but it'd be a great way to like go. this is where we're going. Because right now, it has not been at the MCU. Every X-Men thing they've done is what has happened before. Obviously,
Right.
that's all because of the contracts and everything like that. It's like we
Kelsey
couldn't.
Grammer, Professor X.
Professor, exactly. Like we can't legally cast anybody. But I think at this point, if you shoot a movie that comes out in 2025, or at the very least, if you shoot a movie where it's like this is a character, I don't know. I don't know how they work it out, but I think like it would be the smartest move to pay whatever penalty fee or whatever contract fee you need to pay in order to go like this is the new Wolverine in our
No,
movie.
I think the contracts are over this year. I think this is it. We're done.
Okay, I thought it was 2025, but I'm thrilled if it's 2024.
But,
because
okay,
that
even
means
if
we
it
can-
is though, if you just say, "Hey, Hugh Jackman, we're going to replace you as Wolverine, but we're giving you your last hurrah," you cool with that?
Oh yeah, no,
He's getting a whole movie that he's going to make bank off of. So
yeah, there's no way that he didn't come back and also get a share of the profits. So it's
yeah.
it's
It
a
was
win-win.
done. And even Ryan Reynolds hitting him up, I don't know if that'd be the full way to convince him,
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think it had to be like, because it's a hard role. I mean, you got to be like shredded. He's he's in his 50s. It's like, but yeah, I think that they're going to debut MCU Wolverine in that movie, and if they do, it's like that's a great opportunity for people to like get excited about the future of the MCU and look at what we're planning and look at where we're going with it. Like I don't know. It's just it feels like that's where we need to go with it.
No, I agree. I do. And that is all of our topics. So we're going to wrap up today's... You still there, Sal?
Yeah.
Oh, you got very still.
Oh, sorry.
So we're going to wrap up today's topics right there, guys. If you want to check out more of me, check me out at Comic Historian. Check out Sal over at Comic Pop. And this week's going to be really light, or it was, because by the time you guys watch this live, the week's already over.
Right.
We had Monday off, so we had no other topics to talk about, so we crammed them all into here.
Yeah.
Next week, we'll be back to nearly everyday topics for you guys to enjoy. And that's it. I'm Benny. That is Sal. And we'll see you next time right here